everybody. Welcome in. Episode 9. What's up, what's up, what's up? This is Jester. That is Phoebe. This is Too Much Intimacy, Episode 9.
Bad start. That was very annoying.
Alright, guys. This is going to be a good one.
Getting hot already.
It's starting hot already. You think our audience is really just like, yeah, I love watching them almost get in a fight.
I don't know. That would be weird. I hope not.
I hope not too. So what's going on?
What's going on? It's a good question. I don't know. I feel like we have our weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, we're kind of recording at a unique time for us.
Yeah, we covered all the windows.
Yeah, this is a daytime
to
recording.
pretend like it's night.
Let us know in the comments if you can if you can tell the difference. You probably can.
What do you mean with the lighting?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can tell it's different.
I can't tell. I mean, I probably could, but
You will when you see them side by side.
yeah.
Hey, Bubs.
Bubs is here. We got the weekend ahead of us.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to feel clear in myself before we go into this, because I feel like I have a lot of cluttery racing thoughts right now.
You want to talk about some of the cluttery racing thoughts?
I mean, maybe.
Let's do
I
it.
feel open to it, but I feel like I don't want to tumble into them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I want to feel sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if you want to start with something, I have something on my mind, but I don't know if it's a good thing to talk about.
I think it's a great thing to talk about.
All right. I have something on my mind. So I was on Instagram this morning, and I saw somebody who we know who is an actor who is cool and who lives near us now, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to maybe
Right, somebody
do woo stuff with, because she's into that. And
yeah, a potential new friend.
But she posted a thing, a little video of herself in the car after she went to the store,
Mhm.
and somebody had just called her ma'am, and she was saying how she doesn't like being called, how she said oh, you don't have to call me ma'am, and they're oh, sorry ma'am, or something.
Oh
She's
my gosh.
and she's they just don't know what to call me.
Yeah.
And then how she had this realization that the people who do this are probably 15 years younger than she is. And she was just I don't know, emoting, having that she
Yeah.
didn't like it. And I don't know.
It's crazy to me that she's a ma'am. She's 6 years younger than me.
I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this whole thing, but on one hand, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, she was talking about how her typecast is
yeah.
she's the responsible mom.
Yeah,
Or whatever,
exactly.
that's her type. So it makes sense to me that okay, if you're a mom, people are gonna call you ma'am. But I think it is weird when you're when you don't have kids, this
Yeah.
experience of aging,
Mm.
because I don't know. In a lot of ways, I feel like we're I mean, obviously we're not exactly the same because we've grown a lot inside,
Yeah.
but
You feel like we haven't gone through the
we
ma'am
haven't
portal.
we haven't gone through this big life change where we feel oh, we're becoming our parents, you know? I
Yeah.
feel very much you and I are artists. We're co-creating our life together in
Yeah.
a very intentional way. And I'm sure, I don't know, I would assume that she feels this way also.
Yeah.
So it's weird when society starts I don't know, when you start becoming of the age in society where I want to say society starts, but like it's also in me. Like I also do these things, you know, like look at people and assume that they're a certain type of person because of what age that they seem.
Right. Yeah. So are you saying you get called ma'am if you're like they think of you as a mother, and you get called miss if they think of you as like a girl? Like, or is there like is it like the kids that's the boundary? Is it the being married?
I don't think it's being married. I think it is a kid thing, or like it's like an archetype of the mother versus the maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people who are in their 30s, don't have kids.
Right.
They, I don't know, like I guess I do feel like I fall in between, or like if somebody called me ma'am, I would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't look...
I'm not sure if it... Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting, babe, because this is very much connected to like, you know, the visually, like, you know, you're talking about your, you know, your anti-aging routine, your face yoga, and everything.
Which like this just started. This whole thing kind of just started for me.
Yeah.
It's been like floating around in my mind probably, I don't know, since 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
These things I've been like, I like take note of them, but I haven't been like, oh, that's for me. I've been like, oh, I'm like, that's for later, or like soon.
Yeah.
Soon-ish, maybe.
Soon-ish.
I don't know. And I feel like with this past, well, I guess we're still in it technically, I think. With this eclipse season, that like a lot of it just ended. Some of it is still going. I feel like one day I woke up in the morning and was like, oh my God, my face looks different.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like I feel like on a cellular level, I aged physically.
So interesting. I didn't notice a thing.
I know. I feel like I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about it, but I guess this is like we're just coming out like word vomit.
Oops. Don't worry, we'll talk about my problems with alcohol next.
Oh my God, babe. I hope this is enjoyable for people to listen to.
It's real. That's what it is.
But so it is real because I have felt like around. I'm just sorry. I'm gonna be on my soapbox apparently for a little bit. I have felt like since. I remember reading this article in my like mid years of being in the city, you know, maybe it was like 2015 or something. This like fashion blogger who's had like really cool style, her blog was called Man Repeller, right? Mm-hmm. So she was like putting stuff together that was cool, but it was more like for her personal expression of her creativity and less like I'm trying to look sexy for guys.
Yeah.
You know, it was called Man Repeller.
Man Repeller.
But I remember she wrote this article on wearing makeup, and she was saying how she didn't really wear a lot of makeup because she didn't like the idea that if she like didn't wash her face at night that she would like have all this stuff on it.
Yeah.
So she was like, I don't wear like foundation, I don't wear mascara, like she's like I put on a little bronzer and like that's what I do every day.
Yeah.
But that she accidentally got CC'd on an email that she was not supposed to be CC'd on. Uh-oh. And somebody made a really rude comment about her appearance. They said like she's it's like so just like mean, just like she's so ugly or something. And like she's definitely, I would not say that she's like traditionally like by our societal standards unattractive, but right. I think because she doesn't really wear a lot of makeup. Yeah. She, you know, some people might put her in like, say like mean things about them.
Yeah.
Physically category. Anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like since I really resonated with that article and since I read it, I've always wanted to like look like myself, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like I had this awareness of being in the world as like a woman and like doing the full makeup thing and like the full feminine thing and like feeling it out. And I remember like I would do it and look in the mirror and think I looked like so good. And then I would wash my face at the end of the day and I would look at myself and be like, oh, I look so bad. And I noticed that I don't know. I mean, you don't have this experience because you've never done the makeup
exactly.
thing.
I have no. This is so interesting to me because like it's just a complete. I'm going through a portal right now just listening to you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and I noticed that. Every night I would wash my face and I would look in the mirror and be like, oh, it's so... I would be like sad to wash the makeup off because I would feel like I looked so much better before.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew, like, somewhere in my heart of hearts, I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right that when I take off the stuff that I put on my face, that I feel sad and I don't like who I am underneath.
Yeah. It's such a sad thing. I mean, you know, like... I have always been, I mean, I can't talk about it from inside the female experience, but I guess like how I relate to it is, and you know, I don't really like makeup. Like I kind of, when you started wearing a little bit more makeup, I was like, oh, really? And I can't really tell because you do yours very subtly, but like I've never been attracted to makeup. And I think that was one of the things that I was like so excited about when we first met.
Girls that do like the full like glam,
that
like
you're obviously,
foundation.
when you're obviously doing makeup. And like, unless you've just been lying to me this whole time, you look great without makeup. Unless you've just been secretly wearing makeup, because I can never tell the difference, babe. I can never tell.
From when I'm wearing makeup versus when I'm not wearing
I mean,
makeup?
I can tell if I'm like paying attention, but like, you don't need it is what I'm saying. I'm saying you're a good-looking, good-looking woman.
I appreciate that.
You're a good-looking woman, ma'am.
That you feel that way. I feel very lucky.
Would it be hot if I started calling you ma'am in bed?
What? That is such a weird...
It's just, this is a transition.
I don't know. Oh, you're trying to transition away from the conversation?
Yeah, I was thinking like, you know, what are we at? We're at 13 minutes, so maybe it's like segment number 2 time. So I was just going to see what happened when I threw a sex joke out there.
Oh, I see.
But we could continue to talk about like how society is.
I'm sorry. I feel like I wasn't done with my word vomit.
Okay, keep word vomiting.
We might lose some listeners because this is a new topic, but
no, I think this is what people really want to hear.
I feel like I need to get it out though.
Get it out. This is the revolutionary shit.
Maybe we won't even publish this episode. We'll just, I'm just gonna get it out because I feel like I need to.
Get it out, babe.
Okay, so anyway, I'm just trying to say that I have this value of like I want this thing, so I feel like I've been trying to do. Your hands are so cold.
I know. Sorry.
Trying to do the subtle makeup thing and like or no makeup thing or whatever on and off, like figuring it out for a while, but then this thing happened where I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, I look older. I can see that I'm older, and I've never done the whole like creams or like been crazy about trying to avoid like sun or anything.
Yeah.
But I felt the thing where I was like, all right, there's something in me clicked internally where I want to kick it into high gear.
Yeah.
But only if it's like through the healthy way,
What do you mean kick it into high gear? You want to like, as far as your looks, as far as your presentation to the world? I
feel like where I'm at in my life right now with myself, like my relationship with myself and like kind of for the first time acknowledging like, oh, I have a lot to bring to the world.
You do.
And I kind of feel like part of that, with that, I also really want to feel like I'm bringing my best self forward. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, like healthiest, kind of like,
right.
Like not just physically, like energetically also. Like I want to feel aligned in my soul and like with my spirit.
You want to be kicking on all engines.
I want to be kicking on all engines. And I also felt, this was part of my mushroom trip. I don't even know if I talked to you about. There was a little segment of like, where I feel like I communed with like the beauty spirits.
Oh,
like,
sounds fun.
They talk about like, I think Aphrodite, I think she's like the goddess of love and beauty or something. Uh-huh. And I'm not saying like, oh, I like definitely believe that she's like walking around,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With us, but
she's right over there. She's hiding behind the curtain, actually.
Maybe, I don't know.
Aphrodite has just tuned in.
I don't know. I don't see things that way, but
Aphrodite, hit us up in the comments.
But But I do believe that there are like beauty spirits. I think there is something to the
spirit
whole
of beauty is something.
the whole like goddess.
Yeah,
like,
Kelly Kimball was dedicated to the concept of beauty. Roxana was like philosophers have like pondered on what is beautiful and like what it says about society for like ages, and it's so interesting to like hear you talk about it through your lens.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I've just been doing like a deep dive into like Reddit threads because I don't really trust what's just like out there on the Google.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's just like
Yeah.
it feels like it's an ad or somebody's paid by someone to like talk about something. So
Yeah.
I've been learning about like all the different things people do, and I see that there's kind of like two categories. I mean, I'm sure there's a gray area, but I don't know what's in the gray area of like, okay, we're going all the way toxic.
Right.
You know, we're talking facelifts, Botox,
Yeah, well, okay,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And then there's the other side, which is like, okay, like facial cupping, facial yoga, right? Where it's
That's
like,
of course where you were going to end
beauty
up, babe.
connected to like Chinese medicine and like,
Yeah.
you know, how your spirit is feeling physically. Anyway,
And
so
that's face yoga.
I'm trying to go all the way in the one way, but then there is the part of me also that's like, I want to look at older women and be like, you are so beautiful, you know?
They are. Some of them. You know, not everyone's beautiful. Can we agree on that?
Everyone's on the spectrum.
Everyone's on the spectrum, the beauty spectrum, and
Well,
beauty
and
is a sky of a beholder.
And there's a combination. I do think there is like a thing with like inner and outer beauty, you know. And some people are just really radiate, and I want to be one of those people that really radiates from the inside out because I'm like taking such good care of myself and I like love myself.
Yeah, you do, babe. You want to keep that going throughout life.
I just think it's I feel like it's a process. I don't feel like it's easy to do, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like all the societal conditioning I have.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, I think it's also like impossible to hold ourselves to the standards of running on all engines or kicking on all engines all the time. Like there's just there's no engine that is built to be able to do that. So like sometimes you're going to have some time where you're really revving it up and you look good and you feel good and you're praying and you're doing yoga and you're like, you know, you're having a lot of sex and like you're making a lot of money, you know, like all the things are going right.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you're never going to be batting 100.
Of course.
Like
you can't have that unless you
just
have the raggedy times.
Exactly. And it's like, hey man, if you're like staying over 50% on most of them, you're doing great. And I would say, you know, you're, are you just trying to get me to say how attracted I am to you? How hot I think you are? How pretty I think you are?
No,
how
I'm
beautiful
not.
you are?
I'm not. Sorry, I just had this like.
She's blushing.
I had a bee. I had a bee in my bonnet, and I guess I just had to.
No, it's a good.
I just had to put it out there because I also think that people don't want to talk. People don't want to talk about it.
I imagine this is really difficult stuff for a lot of women to talk about, especially women in their 30s. You know.
Yeah. You're at that in between.
Or like 30s, early 40s. Stage. You know, it's women who, whether or not they have kids, because like your sister recently had kids, but she hasn't aged a day. I mean, I don't know, maybe she's feeling this about herself because you also seem like you haven't aged a day, but your sister doesn't seem like she's in the ma'am category, even though by all, like even the most conservative definitions, she would be.
Yeah.
Being, you know, a married working mother.
Right.
So I think it's probably interesting stuff to listen to.
I don't know. Validate us in the comments.
Please. Thank you. So I don't know if you're following us on YouTube, but if you are, go follow us on YouTube, because if you comment, we have started giving away something we call doodle dollars, which means we draw up a little thing and we make a little short for you. This is because we have 2 comments so far.
Well, you know if you listen to the last episode. But anyway, we did get a couple comments and we posted a couple of shorts. Now I did a few doodle dollars in.
Yeah, so you can definitely bribe us to comment back, to like make videos. You can bribe us for retweets or whatever. What are we even doing here on the internet?
I don't know, but it seems like you're open for business.
I'm open for
Michael's-
business.
Oh,
I'm bribable.
slash that from the record. Jester's slutting it up.
Jester's. I'm an attention slut. I'm thirsty. This smoke that I had,
Oh yeah.
it's a dry mouth smoke. It normally doesn't happen to me like that.
Interesting. Interesting.
I think that was a hell of a soapbox, babe.
All right.
I really enjoyed it.
I think I'm.
You want to
finished.
transition?
I'm finished with my soapbox.
Okay, so what are we going to transition into? Alcohol?
I don't know.
I drank alcohol for the first time in a month last night.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We went to our friends where they're bringing their food truck to this cool
this really cool
like music venue,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be there like 2-3 days a week, I think.
Yeah.
Starting pretty soon.
Wee cuisine. Are we allowed to say that? Wee. Anyway, their food is incredible, and they have this really cute food truck, and so I guess they just like 3 days a week they're gonna be outside this music festival somewhere in the Hudson Valley.
It's not a festival. It's
Not festival. It's just a venue.
It's a small like concert venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It's a cool.
It's very
cool local vibe.
Cool local vibes.
If you're near Newburgh.
Yeah. If you're near Newburgh. So I hadn't been drinking for a while because of the Dominican trip that I told you guys a couple of episodes back, where I rolled my ankle and just generally drank myself into a panic attack and a depression stupor. So I took a month off of booze, and I kind of have been going through this dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
One of my goals was, I said, all right, I'm going to get myself to, just a month without alcohol. It seemed real easy. And then just been talking about the plan for okay, let's, dip the toe back in.
What do you mean when you say it seems real easy? Is that what you said?
It was it wasn't difficult for that month.
It wasn't difficult to do no alcohol during your dark night of the soul.
No.
That's
when I was,
I think that's pretty impressive, babe.
At the beginning of it, I knew that part of it was due to my relationship with alcohol. And by the time I got through that part, I was kind of afraid of alcohol.
Interesting.
And then I felt like as I came through the depression and the sun started coming out, and I had I feel like I've been aligning myself a little bit. Last weekend was an alignment shifting weekend for me. And I was feeling really good, and I was like, oh, well, we're going to this place where I would normally have a couple of beers, and it's one of those things where I could make the choice to have a couple of beers, or I could have a bunch of beers. It was hanging out with our Irish friend.
We hung out for 4.
We hung out for 4 hours.
4 hours.
And that's a time if I wanted to drink, I probably could have gotten our buddy to drink. You were being the DD. I offered to buy the first round so that I could be in control of the third round. All right, this was the strategy. I went in with a strategy and everything, babe.
Nice.
So I said, all right, I'm going to get the first round because everyone knows, you go every other round. He'll get the second round. And then it'll be on me for the third round. But I'll go real slow, and I won't offer, and I'll just kind of see where we're at on the clock, because I won't quite finish my second round. But then I was close enough to the bottom. I could do it a lot easier because it was cans. He shook it out, and he's like, all right, and he just brought back a third round. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't trying to do this.
Oh, what? He just brought you a third beer?
Yeah. So now I owe him the first round next time. He brought me back a beer, and I was trying not to go over 2 beers.
Oh, I didn't even notice what was happening.
You didn't?
Did you?
I thought
you
were
have 3 beers?
I had 2.5. I didn't finish the third one.
Oh, I see.
I thought you were watching me the whole time.
Like a hawk?
Like a hawk. I thought you were.
Babe, do you know, I so badly do not want to be the partner who is trying to control.
No. It's not that bad. I just, I feel like, you pick, I don't know. I thought you would be watching it tonight because it was my first night back. But you weren't.
I mean, I think at the end of the night, I saw on the table that Mark had 3 beers, but I wasn't but I kind of assumed that he had 3 and you had 2. I didn't even I didn't even count the
so you
beers
weren't that
on the table.
You weren't that worried about it.
No.
Okay, so I was just in my head a little bit. But no, I'm proud of myself. I went to a place that I, normally could have knocked back 3 or 4, and
oh my gosh,
I slowed the pace.
It definitely was the perfect setting
for me to get drunk.
To get drunk.
It
I
would've
mean,
been
it was also like a metal concert.
Oh my God.
Which was cool because the crowd was like really interesting.
It really was turning my young party soul on. Like
there was like tons of people and
Yeah.
like yeah.
It was so interesting because my time like
Everyone's chain smoking around us.
Yeah, yeah. My time like going to concerts like that and like getting in the mosh pit and throwing shit around was kind of before I really started drinking at all, you know? And like when I was pretty young. And so I was like, oh, that was when I was at my partiest and I wasn't even drinking. Tonight could be a wild night, you know? I could go into the mosh. I mean, I'm not going into a mosh pit again. I'm 39 years old. I can't throw my body around like that. But just the vibes, the energy of like just the rock and roll, like physical, we're young and angry, you know? It was a good energy.
I was excited by it.
It was an exciting energy. Metal people are metal. I like the vibes of metal people.
You like their vibes?
I like the vibes of these metal people.
What specifically, what do you mean?
I meant not their not like their visual vibes necessarily, although some of it's great. Like if you can pull off like metal in a good looking way, excellent. But just like they're chill, they were happy, they were just like, yeah, dude. But they also like weren't party ridiculous drunk. Like we were talking to our friend who knows the owner of the bar and he's like, yeah, they're not really drinking too much. You know, it was like disappointing for the business, you know. But maybe they just drink afterwards, you know. Maybe they just beat each other up during the concert, and they drink the pain away.
I don't know. Yeah, it did seem like a pretty responsible crowd.
It seemed responsible though. It didn't seem like it was.
I think that I think also that band has like a really loyal following, so
Yeah.
people were just like really excited to be there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good time. Well, good job.
Yeah.
You did it.
I did it. And then you were saying before, you said just, you know, check in with yourself the next day spiritually, you know, like how do you feel?
Right. Yeah.
And so today, which is why I thought you'd be like paying attention, by the way, because you're like, well, tomorrow we should talk about it.
No, I didn't say we should talk about it.
You said I should talk about it with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that.
See, oh yeah. Anyway, so.
I stand by what I said.
No, I think it's good. I'm glad that you did. Because my kind of. I said last night even when we were getting in bed, I was like, I prefer marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, I know I can tell that I would have felt different if I hadn't had that not quite third beer. You know, if I'd stuck it at 2, like I was feeling pretty good at 2, and then by the time I was like halfway into the third one, I was like, this is slowing me down. This is like not. Like.
Does it feel hard, like, to be somebody who like could easily drink more and to be hanging out with people who could easily drink way even more than you?
What do you mean hard?
Like, I don't know, is it stressful?
No. There's
Okay.
What would be stressful about it? Oh, like they're going to lose control or something and you have to like take care of them or?
No. I meant like, is it stressful? Like if you have told yourself that you want to have 2 beers and you're hanging out with, and if you're hanging out with a crew that like, you know, maybe they want to have 4 or 5, maybe they're even going to have 6.
Yeah.
Is that like, does that feel stressful for
you? I mean, it depends on the timing. It's like, all right. So for example, last night, you were the DD, so we ultimately had control of how long the night was going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I really kind of just tried to pace my 2 beers on how I thought your energy was going. And, you know, you had some stamina.
I had some stamina.
You and the woman in this couple, you know, had some nice conversational chemistry, and me and the guy were just batting it back and forth. He's Irish. I'm, you know, talkative, so we're just batting it back and forth all night. I'm just checking in on you. And you and she are just batting it back and forth all night. And then he goes and, you know, she's not a drinker. She's just got a margarita in front of her, just nursing that thing the whole time. But, you know, he and I are both, I think, not trying to be drinkers now, but like, you know, we were good drinkers when we were drinkers.
Right.
And I have a feeling he's like, you know, he could probably, I don't know if he would drink me under the table or whatever, but he could definitely keep up with me and maybe help pace me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I paced myself, and I think that was good. I think he kind of like, you know, I think he noted, and he snuck the third beer in. Maybe he was trying to have a little bit of a wild night. Because I was a little bit worried. I was kind of thinking they were trying to have a wild night when they like kind of specifically asked you to be the designated driver.
I don't think that she's like she's not wild though.
But she doesn't like to drive on the highway, right? So she didn't want to drive him over. Is what they were saying. Is why they asked us to pick him up, right?
Yeah, because he wanted to drink.
Because he wanted to drink.
And usually he drives. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope I didn't keep him from.
No, babe. What I'm saying is, I don't think she's wild. She's not wild.
She's not wild. No, she's not wild
So
with
I don't
alcohol.
think they
not
were
at all.
they weren't trying to have a wild night.
No, but he is wild. So you know.
He is. Yeah, I think he gets.
He could have. He gets a little wild. I think they were wondering if it would. You know, I think they knew it was possible, but
Wow.
anyway, I paced myself. And I think I realized, you know, today, the next day, I'm like, nah, I don't need to, like, if I go out to a situation like that again, it's just like, all right, now I know I really don't want to have more than two, you know, like, so, like, I felt really good until 2. And, like, this morning I was fine, but then I was a little sluggish. You know, I took a nap. You caught me taking a nap.
Yeah, we got out of bed at like 10, and then I went to go like, I did some like work stuff, and I come back, and you're at 12 o'clock. You had been taking a nap. I'm like, you were taking a nap. You're like, I wasn't. I was just. I don't even know what you said you were doing.
I was listening what I was doing. What I was doing is I was taking a little break, you know, because I had. Okay, so I put my headphones in, and I was listening to a podcast, or I was listening to a Bamis message. My friend Bamis sends me, you know, we basically send personal podcasts back and forth. You know, the message is like 20, 25 minutes long. So I think I put that in while I was doing research for our upcoming trip to Portugal. And so I like did all this research for Portugal, and I finished that assignment because it was an assignment for the day, right? You know, we got a lot of things that we got to do today. So I went up and I put I did my homework, and I came up with it, and then I was like, all right, I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to lay down, maybe play some Dominion, you know, listen to the rest of this podcast, and then I'll, you know, get up and do the next thing. And then like I kind of just dozed off. You know.
I guess you needed the sleep, babe.
I guess
I'm glad
I did.
You got it. But I did give you shit.
I love sleep.
You're like a bear.
I am a bear. It didn't used to be this way, but I've always kind of needed a good 8 hours. I'm definitely hibernating right now.
Wow, I mean, you definitely got 8 hours last night.
No, I'm needing to get like, I need to get like 10 or 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like I used to be fine, you know, between 6 and 8. And I think I still am okay at 6, but it ain't good. But like really I want 12. Or 10. I probably want 10. 12 seems a little excessive.
I mean, babe, you should just be honest. Like, if you want what you want, you should try to get it.
I think I want 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. I mean, I think I want 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
9 hours.
9 hours.
All right, well, that seems pretty doable.
Or I should do 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 9:30 to 6:30. All right. Sorry.
I don't know, babe.
How much sleep do you think Bubs gets every evening, every day?
I think I heard that cats sleep 50% of their lives.
That's a good life.
So he must get 12 hours.
That's a good life, huh, Bubs? He was snoring a little bit a second ago. Thank you for resetting the energy of the podcast, Bubs. You're doing such a good job.
He's perfect.
He is perfect. Oh. I think that's when we start like marketing this and we start like clipping out shorts. I think he's gonna He's going to be very marketable.
I don't want to talk about our child that way.
He's a cat. He's beautiful. He doesn't know that we're going to try to ride him into economic success.
Ride him into economic
That came out
success?
weird. That came out weird. Oh, man.
You sound like the parent of a child actor.
I sound like what?
The parent of a child actor.
Yeah, I know.
Not that I know any personally, but...
Yeah. You don't know any child actors, do you? I wasn't really a child actor. I acted when I was a child, but I certainly wasn't, I want to raise a famous child actor.
Yeah, I put into the category child actors as, like, people who are on TV regularly.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know.
They have a certain amount of fame.
Have to do homeschool.
Yeah.
Because they just they're not in a regular schedule. They're just living an entirely different life.
Do we know any of those? I don't think we do.
I'm thinking back to 2020 when I was watching the new Babysitters Club.
Oh, yeah. That was a weird one, babe. You went through some weird TV shows. There was the Babysitters Club.
Why is that weird?
Come on, we're like adults, and you're like watching, like you're like trying to get your husband to watch like a babysitter show of like 12-year-old girls. Like watch this show with middle school girls.
I don't think they were even 12. I think they were like 10.
It's fucking weird. All right, you were watching a kids show. All right, I'm sorry. But you do have the spirit of a middle school girl still, kind of. You're very young. Bubs.
Yeah, probably like... Yeah, it would seem like on paper that I had some big, like, childhood trauma, right? That's why I, like, am so in touch with my inner child.
It would seem that way.
But
you don't really.
I don't think I did. I mean, obviously there could be something that I don't remember, but...
Sometimes I've thought that. I've, like, been at, like... I've been at, like, holiday things and been like... She's got to be a little more fucked up than she seems. What's this family hiding?
What do you mean at with my family?
What's this family hiding? And, like... It just doesn't seem like there is. Your family's just so wholesome.
I feel like I had a really good childhood.
You had a great childhood.
I think that's why I'm in touch with my inner child, because it was just a time of joy.
Well done to your parents. We got to put a lot of doodle dollars into their account, even if they don't comment.
Even if we never share this with them because
we're afraid.
Because we're afraid. Because they're too straight edge for us.
Oh.
For this.
Yeah. They're gonna if we traumatize our grandchildren, they're gonna blame me for sure.
Because your parents are divorced?
Yeah, exactly. I came from a I feel like, this isn't really true, but I feel like at the beginning of us dating, I was, I feel like I was a little wild for your family, I was like just an actor who was like, I was an actor who just started like a ticket business, and like they obviously,
you weren't the first, but the thing is, you weren't the first one.
Yeah, you always like the wild.
Not that I always like the wild ones, but the one who came before you was probably the most extreme person that I've dated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I think they were just glad you were closer to my age.
That's true. What was the age difference between you and your ex?
18 years.
18 years.
I know.
It was 18 years.
It sounds like a lot when you like put it on paper, but.
So he's in his 50s now.
I guess so.
50s. We have some friends in our 50s. It's not weird.
I mean, I think
it would have been fine. I mean, except for the fact that you would have been unhappy,
Why you're living out my potential?
Yeah, you could have
fantasy.
Yeah. What happens when you go back?
What could have been?
What could have been?
Oh my gosh, I would have been. I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I don't have you're my first cohabitational relationship. So I don't have a big ex. You know, I got some big exes, but like my big ex is like kind of my college ex. Not really. Like none of my New York exes are like big exes.
Well, what do you mean by big X?
You know, like the ex that you tell everyone about, the one that has the largest part of your story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's so many categories to bigness because on paper this was a big X. Like we lived together for pretty much 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But emotionally, not big at all. It's crazy how easy
Yeah,
it was
that's
for me to
crazy.
leave that relationship.
That is crazy. We met 30 days after you left this guy.
I mean, I definitely, the fact that I did my first Iboga trip.
That's a big one. That's an inflection point,
that helped
ladies
the
and
breakup.
gentlemen.
I mean, that made it a lot easier because then I was just like, it's like I was just snapped back into my body into like,
Yeah.
oh, this is who I am. This is the kind of person that, you know, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, obviously that's like, it's not a fit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're going deep this episode, Phoebes.
I'm going deep.
Phoebes is going
I
deep.
guess, if you say
Yeah,
so.
I mean, no, you like. I love this. You got on a soapbox about your, you know, about how society is unfair to women, and how like, you know, with makeup and things and the beauty standards, and we talked about your childhood.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
good.
All right. Well, I'm glad you feel satisfied.
How do you feel?
I feel... That's a good question. I feel like mostly satisfied.
I mean,
Not entirely satisfied.
what do you want?
What do I need to get off?
What do you need for this? We've got, what are we at? We're at 43 minutes. You know, we got another 5-10 minutes. What do you want from those 5 to 10 minutes?
I don't know.
What's
That's a
our
good
closing segment?
question.
I talked about alcohol.
Yeah, we talked
We
about
went
some,
deep?
We talked about some heavy stuff, I guess.
Oh God, we should talk about some funny stuff or something. Baseball. The Yankees got torpedo bats.
Okay, I'll tell a story. I'll tell a story. A cool, like, lighthearted story about this, like, new little chapter that I'm in.
Okay.
So while you were gone in the Dominican,
Mm-hmm.
I had, like, a glorious, like, 5 days of, like, just me time.
Yeah.
Not, like, because I don't want you here.
No, it's nice to have me time.
I was just, like, I didn't even know that I, like, needed it or that I wanted it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. What?
Coyote almost knocked down the light.
Oh. Anyway, while you were gone, one evening I listened to this podcast episode, I guess,
Mhm.
by Melanie Adriana, who
Yeah.
I mentioned in the last episode.
Yeah.
And she had a guest on, and she, like, opened the field, right? Like, as
Mhm.
she does.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying how, there's, like, all these horses here. And that, like, all the people who are listening, they're here, and, like, each one has a horse, and people have multiple horses. And, you know, she's talking about, like, what horses, I don't know, I think about what horses mean. I can't
Mhm.
remember exactly. But anyway, there was, like, a moment at the end where they're, like, the horses are getting, they're ready to, like, they're getting restless, like, they're
Yeah.
ready to run.
They're ready to stampede.
And they're like, all right, we're gonna like run with them.
Yeah.
And so both of them, they're, like, on Zoom with each other.
Yeah.
Both of them were like, ah, and they start screaming, and they're like, ask us whoever's listening to join in. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, like, in my living room, and I'm like, ah, I do the thing, and the cats are like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, kittens.
And then that night, I went to sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I saw something floating over the bed, which hasn't happened in a long time. This used to happen to me, like, at the beginning of my, like,
Yeah.
whole spiritual awakening. It hasn't happened in years. I woke up, and I see a horse, like a horse's head.
Yeah. From The
Like
Godfather?
No, not like a
Not like a
violent.
bloody horse's
It
head.
looks like a kind of like a childhood horse, like a kind
Like if-
face.
if-
It wasn't like fully anatomically correct.
Was it like a BoJack Horseman like memory?
I don't really like that show, but yeah, I guess it was a little cartoonish.
Okay.
Oh, floating over my bed, like this energy of like a horse head floating over my bed.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh. And then the next day I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like that hasn't
Yeah.
happened in a while. You know,
That
this
is
just
so
means
cool.
that I'm like back into like, I'm getting back into my magic.
Well, spirit of Horsey.
Well, okay, that's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
So then like a week later, I go back to Arizona and I
that's
brought
right.
with me lamb chop because when I travel, sometimes I like to have something to cuddle with, and lamb chop is a very good travel size.
Yeah.
So I brought lamb chop with me for like emotional support. And my mom comes into the room I'm staying in, and she sees lamb chop on the bed, and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's lamb chop." Because I used to watch lamb chop when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You brought that with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I brought it." And then she gets like this kind of excited look on her face, and she's like, "Oh, I have something.
Oh.
I have something to show you." And I'm like, "What?" And she opens the closet, and there's like this big giant plastic bin. She opens the bin, and she pulls out from the bin. She pulls out something that I thought was gone. She pulls out Horsey.
Horsey.
Horsey is like my favorite childhood animal,
Yeah.
like stuffed animal.
Mm-hmm.
that
When
I
did you get
had.
Horsey? Do you remember?
Like one Christmas. I was very young though, barely remember. But
Right.
Horsey was my favorite. She used to have like a little sound box where she would like if you moved her, she would like neigh, and it would
Yeah.
make like a galloping noise. Anyway, in like 2020, I think after my like spiritual awakening started, I asked my mom. I was like, "Do you still have Horsey?" Because I was like reconnecting with my like inner child, and my mom's like, "No, I don't have Horsey. You told me you didn't want him."
She
So I was
lied.
cleaning and I threw him away, and I'm like, "Oh, you did?" I'm like, "Are you sure? Because I thought I saw it here." And I was looking around. She's like, "No, I don't have
You,
him anymore."
you still felt the spirit of Horsey.
Anyway, yeah, my mom, and I asked her later. I'm like, "Wait a minute, you told me that you threw Horsey away." I'm like, "Did you forget, or were you just messing with me?" She's like, "Yeah, I kind of was messing with you." How fucked up is that?
That's so funny.
She's like, "I didn't think you were." She said something like, "I didn't think you were ready. Like, I didn't think you would appreciate him." So I think 'cause she
Really?
saw I had my own stuffed animal. She was like, "Okay."
Oh, now she'll
And she
appreciate him.
Anyway,
That's very sweet.
I'll give a little special
Horsey.
a proper shout out to Melanie Adriana.
Yeah.
I feel like some things have been moving and shifting in
Definitely.
my life, and
And
Horsey's
Horsey,
back.
Horsey has returned to his mother.
It's so surreal that to have Horsey in our bed,
That's
like
wild.
this animal the stuffed animal that I freaking slept with
Yeah.
so much as a kid.
My mom has kept mine.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
And she's-
bring your cat back.
She's been trying to get me to take it back. She like displays it in her living room, and I think I'm ready to take it back.
All right. Well,
I feel weird about
we're
it.
gonna. You feel weird about it?
Yeah, I don't know why. I feel like I'm like, oh, am I too old to be getting a stuffed animal? Does it seem ridiculous that I'm taking my stuffed animal? But I guess it's like, my mom will probably be overjoyed when I take it. She'll probably think it's the sweetest thing in the world.
Your mom will be definitely overjoyed when you take it.
Oh,
But you should just, you should do it for yourself though when you're ready.
I'm doing pretty good as a son. I'll hold off that one for a little bit. You know, she gets because she's getting a real nice 70th birthday present out of me. You know, so I'm gonna take her hot air ballooning, which I remember is something that when I was a kid, she always wanted to go to like the hot air balloon festival in New Mexico, or she just like really liked hot air balloons. So I was just like, oh, like she's turning 70. I'm like, I can afford to splurge a little bit. So, hey, Horsey, I can afford to splurge a little bit. So let me do that. And when I told her, she was just
she was really excited.
She was really excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's a little nervous, so we're gonna do it on Mother's Day this year. So
Do you think she's nervous?
yeah,
Why do
when
you
I was talking to her, I think probably while you were away. Actually, I can't remember. When I had a phone conversation with you and you weren't there, we were talking about it, and I said she was a little nervous.
Oh, like because of the heights?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to go in it because I'm really afraid of
Yeah.
heights.
I think maybe that's why I haven't booked it yet. So I think I should call her and really ask her if she wants to.
Just check in with her, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Coyote.
I think it's getting time to wrap it up.
Okay, what time?
We
How
should
much
not
time?
let her settle in.
Well, yeah, because then this will be a 2-hour podcast. All right. Let's move into the foreground. Ow. All right. What's our outro this evening, babe? This afternoon.
Well, I just keep thinking about the beauty thing. And I want to just say hey to all of our beauties out there.
What's up, beauties?
Our beautiful viewers or listeners, if you're on the sound podcast.
If you're on the Soundcast.
Yeah.
The Soundcast? Is that a thing? The audio cast?
Yeah, I think.
You guys are true beauties. We really appreciate you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I was saying that I was just seeing all of our listeners as beauties.
They are.
Like, with flowers.
Oh.
With, like, lots of flowers around them. I don't know what, like, everyone's favorite flower is, but that's one of my favorite things to imagine is, like, I don't know, people with their favorite flowers all surrounding them. Like, you know, like Frida Kahlo or, like, some kind of flower god or goddess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, I'm going
I love it, babe. I love it.
There.
All right. That wasn't the first thing. I don't have to say that right back, do I?
So the sign-off is to look in the mirror.
To look in the mirror.
Sniff your beautiful flower.
To sniff your beautiful flower.
It sounds really sexual. Look in the mirror, sniff your beautiful flower, see your beautiful face.
See your beautiful face.
And open your heart.
And open your heart.
To the real you inside.
To the real you inside. That's right, folks. You heard it first. Fuck. I had it for a while, too. What was the first one?
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror.
Smell your beautiful flower.
Smell your beautiful flower.
Look at your beautiful face.
Look at your beautiful face.
And open your heart to
And
the real
open
you
your
inside.
hearts to the real you inside. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Too Much Intimacy.